All right, we're with Australia's fastest street glide rider, Justin. Let's have a look at his bike. This is a bike and rider that eats Japanese bikes for breakfast. Hi, my name's Eamon. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to do something different. I've got a friend of mine, Justin. You might have seen him before as the guy who dresses up in the gorilla suit on the Million Dollar Bogan videos. I thought Justin is an interesting character. He is a street glide rider. No, a CVO street glide rider.
CVO.
Yeah.
Twin cam.
A very experienced motorcyclist. We're going to talk about that. He's got a colourful past, a very interesting past, a lot of good stories to tell, perhaps a dark past, some would say. And he's got his own channel on YouTube and he's interested in helping other people with their mental health. And he's got a few, let's say, funny story, tragic, but funny stories to tell in that regard as well. So I thought all of you people out there will love listening to some of these stories. And if you like today's video, help the channel out, like and subscribe, even comment. And don't forget to check out the website for great supporter gear. Get yourself a sticker or a patch. Let's get into it. Let's talk bikes first. Yep. So, Street Glide CVO, how long have you had it? Tell us about it.
I like all bikes. So, I've got a Ducati and I've had Hondas and I used to race and everything else like that. So I bought it was 2016 CVO Street Glide, black with a bit of flake in it. Bought that, up the engine.
Okay, what did you do to the engine?
Oh, with the engine I put a 117 kit into it, changed the exhaust manifolds.
Now, I just had a ride of Justin's bike. It goes seriously well. How do you think your bike goes? Are you happy with it? Because from ex-racer's point of view...
Oh, look, for the way I ride it and what I've set up on it.
Look at this machine. So what have you got in this, Justin?
All right, so we'll start at the front. So we've got a 21-inch rear wheel, front wheel, a composite rubber, so it's hard in the centre, but very soft on the sides. So
yeah, that's what I've got, yeah.
I can lean. The tyres I've put in it, so the front and rear tyres, I've got a 200 size tyre, which is equivalent to a MotoGP composite tyre, so it's hard in the middle, soft on the sides, same with the front.
What brand?
It's a Dunlop on the rear and I've got a Pirelli on the front.
Yep.
All right, because I like the feel of Pirellis. When you're racing, a lot of people don't know this, but what you see on the TV isn't necessarily what they've got on their bikes, right? They get paid to have that, but that mightn't be what they're using, but they'll put the brand name on it.
Oh, yeah.
The brake pads, carbon ceramic pads, right? So they don't overheat and they will grip and they won't fade. So they can heat up to about, I think they can take about 1200 degrees. Engine, it's been upgraded to a 117. Colin did the work on the headers, got the flow right, everything. Tuned it, and I've got aftermarket, or not they're an aftermarket head, Paul Hallam custom heads, done by Paul Hallam himself. This particular model, 2016 CVO, came out with water-cooled heads. I've reduced the spring poundage on the valve spring train from 600 pound down to about 280 pound, which just frees up a lot of power so you're not smashing your cams. It's increased the rev and the speed of the overall revving of the engine. Different pegs, for look and also for practicality. I like a closer peg and it's very accurate. There's no flop in it at all. Crossover system, as I said. Mufflers, Colin, they're done by Colin. And I actually get off my bike. I actually get off my Harley, I hang off it. It's a typical thing. The more you get off it, more or less lean on the bike, the better you can get around the corner type thing. And I do ride my Harley quite
hard.
Hard, not thrashing it, but not like a traditional Harley rider. I actually get on it. When I get on it, I just go. But the music, I loved it for the fact, what really drew me in was the stereo.
Because you like music?
I love music. Certain songs, really trigger points. I can easily clear my head on the Ducati I've got. I've got a Ducati Desmo Sedici. I can get on that and clear my head easy. Within less than 5 seconds, I'm doing 300. That's going to clear your head. It's not necessarily the safest, right? But so getting on the Harley, doing the speed limit, right song, speed limit clears me head.
Do you do the speed limit? I do the speed limit.
Yeah, sometimes, I observe the signs, I go past, hair like this, type things. We've got the stereo system, so we've got Polk 6.9s in the rear with 500 watt 4-channel focal handmade amp. Same amp in the front, but 6.5 Polks in the front, all plug and play. Went from there. And then it just kept adding and adding. I like to cruise. That's what, and it had a stereo on it. Had a stereo on it, and that's what I like that because I've got a Ducati, which obviously don't have a stereo.
I'll put a clip of your stereo in because Justin's stereo is a serious stereo.
I worked it up.
Let's have a listen to a 1200 watt Street Glide stereo.
Oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord.
I don't know if you can hear that on the GoPro, but that's loud.
Oh Lord.
It's still super loud, and I'm a fair distance from the bike. So everybody is going to hear Justin coming. What else have you done to your Harley?
Recently finished it off by putting Fox springs and lowering kit in the front, internals in the front, and upping the density of the fork oil so it doesn't dive as much. Twin rear island shocks on the rear. New belt, different bushings and stuff like that, a bit stiffer, so it can handle. I know what the bike is, but if you can get the most you can without going too far, I'm still in that safe zone. I know what the bike is.
Yeah. And you've done a lot of Ks on your bike since you've got it?
Yeah, I bought it brand new, so it had 0 Ks, and now it's got 110,000 Ks on it.
Yeah, so he rides it? There's
saved my life.
No drama about that.
Without a doubt, it saved me life. It did. They're life-saving Ks, you know.
All right, now that's something we're gonna touch on in a second.
Yep.
So you're an ex-motorcycle racer.
Yeah, I raced, yes.
How did you get into that?
I was working at Canagra Wool, and I had a Fireblade, 95 model Fireblade at the time. Rick and Adam Ferguson, who were brothers, and their father Bruce Ferguson, all worked there. Got to find out that Adam and Rick had both raced bikes, and Adam was right up there.
So he introduced you to motorcycle racing?
Well, it came about it because they liked me bike, and then they looked at my my tyres, and they've gone, "You're turning them blue." This is on public roads. And it's pretty, if you thought about racing, you know what I mean?
Have they literally just said, come down to the track?
Yeah, that's what happened.
And what?
Yeah, just they said, Adam said, "I've got a test day coming.
Yep.
You want to come along?"
Yep.
And at the time, I said yes, straight away. The sponsor that was sponsoring Adam, they're also into motorbikes, and the mechanic, they've seen my Fireblade. Just go out on your bike.
Yep.
Do a couple of laps. I did a couple of laps on my Fireblade, which was 95 model Fireblade at Phillip Island, and I was pulling consistently between minute 45s, minute 46s on a street.
That's quick.
You know, and I'm on the limit, and I knew I was on for road rubber, treaded rubber, everything's standard, mirrors, indicators, everything's going. You know, like,
because in those days the lap record would have been about
it was down
135 or something.
Yeah, that was on the superbikes. And they said, you should race. I didn't tell anyone. I went and bought the first release of the GSXR 600. I'd got my racing licence.
So you've gone straight into A grade?
Straight into A grade. When you go into the Super Sports National Series, they're all A grade riders.
Yep. I
get there and they go, "Hey, go with the truck." And I open up the back of the truck and they see this race bike, roll it. Beautiful looking race bike. I'm here to race, boys, against you. So,
how'd you go?
Look, that was it.
Does that mean bad?
It was bad. It was shit. It was bad. I didn't qualify. It was a lot of nerves because I got there.
What did you do wrong?
I just on the Thursday was an open day because it was just me. I had no mechanic, no support, no nothing. It was just me. And I'm going around there and pulling good times. Great. You know, and then it hits you right. Qualifying the next day. Qualified was a minute 45, and that which is good.
Oh, great times.
I was in there.
Yeah,
I was in on a 600
fantastic.
with just an aftermarket pipe, Ollins rear end, and stock engine. Then I'm watching the times on the Saturday. They're really going. I'm like, I can go in there, and it just wasn't happening. I failed to realise about the tyres. You know, I didn't change my tyres, and that's what brought me down.
Okay, so that's destroyed your first start.
And
then how did you go after that? How long did you stay in racing?
I was in racing for 2 years.
2 years, yeah. 2 years. What was your best day or your best result?
Oh, best result. Look, I never stood on the podium. I got close once.
Gee,
so I never won a race. But to give people a comparison on understanding about winning and losing, 32 people on the grid. The first pole sitter to the last bloke in last.
Yeah.
The difference in our times was less than a second.
Yeah, it's amazing that,
So
isn't it?
when you see, when you go, oh, you didn't win, that's the difference, guys.
Yeah.
It's less than a second. You know.
Yeah, but not only that, it's pretty good because you basically come off the street with no resources.
No. I mean, I've done testing and then I'll go straight into
had
that.
a crack. So Justin's got another two motorcycles, and they're both quite interesting in their own right. The first one's a Ducati. You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, that's the Ducati I've got is a Desmo Sedici. So they made them between 2007 2008. They're the actual, not replica, they are the spec MotoGP bike for when Casey Stoner was riding.
This is the new Desmo Sedici. And it's mine! Sadici.
It's a
What's so special about that?
It is the very first V4 Ducati. It's a very rare bike. They made 1,500 to do the world. And
How many in Australia?
on my final count, I think there's 12 to 15.
Gee, so it's pretty rare.
So it's like a unicorn. When I pull up at a lights and they're red, I'm still stationary and they're green because people are like, you don't see them. You don't see them.
What do you reckon that's worth?
I paid, I'll tell you, I'll be honest.
No, you don't have to tell us what you paid, but what do you reckon it's worth now if you have to sell it?
All right, okay. I've been offered 190,000.
Jesus crikey. That's pretty good.
I'll never sell it. Bike.
How many Ks have you done on it, or is it just in a glass cabinet?
No. Mine is known in the world, and it is known in the world as the most highest mileage Desmo Sedici out there.
So you ride it.
I've done 25,000 kilometres on it. Anyway, so I got to the note, I got a phone call. I said, listen, Justin, we're down to the last one. You know, you're going to have to let us know. So I grabbed the missus. How much is on? I said, how much is on the credit card? She said, it's about 10 grand. How are you going to pay for this bike? I said, it'll happen. I believe that if you put the right vibes out there in the right way, things will happen.
That's a very spiritual perspective.
Yeah, but without being stupid. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But at the same time, I was knowingly putting the deposit down, knowing also that I could lose that too.
So you put the deposit down, and what happened?
Give me 4 months.
Yep.
To come up with the money. I just want to make this clear. I didn't steal the money, didn't stand over the money. All right, I didn't, none of that. It's amazing, you know, when things can happen. So it happened. I can't explain where the money comes from. I can't tell you where it came from. I sold some shares and whatever, but they landed. They landed. It got this close. When I put the deposit down, they said what, and this was at 9 o'clock at night.
Yep.
On a Saturday. He immediately sent the email straight through. That Desmo's gone.
Yep.
At the time, this Desmo was the last one.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm riding this bike, and I look in the rear vision mirror, and I'm on my Desmo, and I look in there, and I see this car. I know the headlights straight away.
Yep.
It's an SLS AMG.
Okay.
Going door.
Yeah.
Beautiful, and it was yellow.
Yeah.
You know, beautiful car. Like you know,
I know that one. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic car. So I'm slowing down, but at the same time, he's speeding up. So what I didn't know is I've recognised the car. But I didn't know this at the time. But he's recognised the back of the bike. So he's accelerating, I'm decelerating because I want to see the car. He wants to see the bike. Yeah. So we've sort of met as we're doing along, and we've stopped. We've pulled over. He's pulled over, and I've pulled over. And he gets out and he goes, "Oh, Desmo Sedici." He said, "You almost had one of them." Right? And I'm standing there going, I said, "Yeah." I said, "I love your car." And he goes, "Yeah." And I said, "You know," he said, when I put my deposit in, and he said, the bloke who got the deposit before me was in there 10 seconds before me. 10 seconds, because the time's there, right? And I'm turned around, I said, "Really? When was this?" Because he's not to know. But he knew the number, what number of the bike that he was going to get. And he's just looked, and I've gone, "I'm that guy." And I said, "Why were you holding back, mate, when you're driving a $1.2 million car, you tight ass? You know, you missed out on it, you know?" Yeah. It was quite funny.
Now, you have another interesting bike, completely different.
Yeah, totally.
Go for it.
Off the chart. It's a 2007, right, monkey bike. So it's black with the checkered seat. Now,
You've got to explain what a monkey bike is.
It's a little Honda 50 with the tractor tyres.
So you're buying it as a bit of a joke?
Bit of a joke.
He will go home to have a no.
So I went there, put my deposit at the Honda dealership. 3 days later, go by, so I'm going past my mates at about 6 o'clock, and I'm looking at all the bikes. And so I go in there, I go, "What's going on?" He said, "I've just gone into receivership."
Oh, gee.
And I've gone, "What do you mean, mate? I gave you my money 3 days ago." So the next day I rang up Honda. As I said, I've done things with Honda, not raced officially with them, but I've tested bikes, and I know people. I rode Michael Doohan's bike. I tested for, Honda, rode his bike and everything. So I know about MotoGP.
Yeah.
I've been around bikes in different ways.
So you put your deposit down on the 209 monkey bike. The dealer's gone into receivership, which basically means
it's gone. It's gone. The bike's gone. Everything.
Yeah, and the administrators are going to dish that money out to whoever.
Other dealers have got their bikes. They've already pre-sold them, whatever. Yeah. So I've let my grievances go with that. Metro Honda in Ringwood. Anyway, Glenn, who was a salesman there, and he rings me up. He says, "Oh, we've got a bike here for you." I haven't bought a bike. No, well, Honda's delivered a bike to us. And he's gone, "Oh, it's a monkey bike?" And straight away, I've just said, "Oh yeah, what year is it?" 2007. Well, I've just gone off in this rant because it was the 2009 that could be road registered.
Oh,
So one's before or after,
Yeah,
they can't be road registered anywhere in the world. So it's only in 2009.
Okay.
And so I'm like, for the next 5 minutes, what am I going to do with that? There's no fun in that. We're only in 2007, what am I going to do with that? You're going to ride around anywhere. It's not funny. Just look at it, ride around you can't even ride at the park. You know what I mean? And he's gone, he gets finally, I calm down, he gets a word in, he goes, listen, he said, no, he said, wrong step. He said, Honda's actually ADR'd this one.
Yep.
And complied it. They've taken it out of their own collection.
Well, that's a compliment. So they've done that specially for you, yeah? Okay,
and they've registered it. And he said, and being a 2007 model, it's the 40th anniversary.
Cool, okay.
So it's rare within itself.
Yep.
There are monkey bikes out there registered, but they're not they're not the fifth. Mine's a 49cc 40th anniversary. So when you see it on the road, I'd rather you sit on my Desmo than that. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay.
Because that one.
So it's a pretty rare bike.
It's very rare.
Do you ride that one?
Yeah, I ride that.
What do you do with that?
So what I do is I've got a gorilla suit, and I get on and I put my full gorilla suit and I ride around the streets. You know, so it just makes people laugh. I love it to just get a wind up on people, not taking the piss, but just if you can put a smile on someone's face, for you know, just to make their day, something different, break the thought pattern. You know, it's the best.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
You know, that's what I do.
All right, so you just said an interesting thing when the camera was off about street glides are better than road glides, and I've got to put this in.
So, okay, right. So you go off on a aerodynamic basis, right? So road glides, people do say, are better cruisers. They sit on the road for a long time, they handle that. So your aerodynamics are fine. But if you get a wobble in the bike, all you've got to control that wobble is your steering, right? That front fairing is not moving. So you are not changing the direction of the wind. Unless you hop off the bike like a sports bike rider would. Now, with a sports bike, they're a lot lighter, so the wobbles are easily contained by the rider lifting a shoulder, grabbing some air.
The Harley's heavy.
Harley's heavy. So to get wind, you need to get right off the bike to pull it up. You know, and also accelerating out of the problem, which is what you should do when you get the Harley wobble. But with the street glides, the wind is impacting on the front that you have control of. So you can move that front fairing to
whatever position you want.
To work it, and that without where the road glide's fixed. And that's why the US coppers like the street glides. They can have they feel the wobble. It's actually affecting them, where on the handlebars directly.
That's why I like the street glide.
With a road glide, it'll affect the whole bike because the fairing's fixed. And that is the main difference. It's choices on how your riding style, of course, goes. It depends what you want to feel. Where I get a bit of a wobble, I can move my front wheel and it changes the whole demographics of the whole bike.
And I like having the feel.
It's
being able to feel everything. Girls bike, road bike, road glide, girls bike. So
they're totally different, but it's what you like. Owning a Harley, you can customise it to what you are. But all bikes, I appreciate all bikes across the board.
Me too. They're all fantastic.
Except for the Hyacinths.
I've never ridden one of those.
They're shocking, mate. You know,
do you annoy people?
I don't think so. I mean, it depends what you need to be annoyed about. You know, well, I need to annoy you. You know, I mean,
because you've got a pretty colourful past. Dark past, some would say. Which gives you a lot of experience in life. And probably makes you pretty intuitive as to dealing with people. Do you want to talk about that at all? I'll tell you how that life sort of came about. People make life choices, and then there's just life, and you've got no choice. But that doesn't mean that you have to be a product of your environment. You know what I mean? You can work that out. You can work that out. Because your environment was pretty harsh. You grew up in.
I was a single parent. My grandmother stayed. My mother wasn't really around.
You left school early?
Yeah, left school early. Pulled out of school. My grandmother died when I was 10, so that was really the first time my mother and I looked at each other.
Wow. Okay.
But then when my grandmother passed away, that's when she knew there was no one to take care. And it was literally out in front of my aunt place on the day. My grandmother passed away when I was my horse riding. And Yeah. And we're at my
Have a
auntie.
break.
No, we're at my auntie Pat's place after it because she had a heart attack in the back seat, and because she used to love me watch me ride horses, and I knew straight away that something had happened without even knowing because I rode to the top of the hill and I just knew.
So you've had a loveless childhood. Is that what you would call it?
From your parent, from my mother. I never knew.
But at
my
least
father.
you had somebody.
Yeah, no, I had my grandmother, my grandfather, and my auntie Pat and Uncle John. Beautiful people. They've all passed away now, and so that's when things really took a change. My mum.
For the worse?
Yeah. For life child change for my mother for the worst.
What happened?
We ended up in, she took me all the way up to Queensland, and I just knew something wasn't right. She said she was cleaning, but she wasn't getting home until like 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning and things like that. I'm stuck at home. Yeah. I'm like, what's going on? She said, this is not right. I was pretty clear by then. You look at my childhood and everything, I wasn't stupid, I nut things out.
Yeah,
Anyway, so I basically rocked up at her work one night. Walked into the massage parlour in just off Cavill Avenue in the Gold Coast there.
Yep.
Walked into the side door, rode my bike down. Worked things out and I walked in. I knew what I walked into. Yep. And one day, she just left me. 13,
So
14.
she's left you when you were 14?
14, yeah.
To fend for yourself?
In the massage parlour, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Just gone. So the owner, who had 6 other massage parlours, he was also into other things.
Okay, and that was the start of a colourful life?
Yeah, that's when you see things, and being a background Scottish, first generation here, owner of the brothels, Italian, say no more.
So he's trying to say that he knows some very colourful characters
and then
in the Australian...
How do things ever get so far? I don't know.
You've basically seen a lot, and you've worked with some interesting identities in the Australian, can we say underworld?
Yeah.
All right, so, and as a result of that, you've done a lot of security work?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, a lot.
So you've looked after some famous people?
Yeah.
Like who?
Michael Jackson, Mark Knopfler, Guns N' Roses, face to face, like literally waking up in the bed with Axl Rose and Slash, they're right there. Pamela Anderson, they came in, Tommy Lee, all of that. Who else was there? Seth Enslow from Krusty Demons of Dirt, looked after them, Krusty team. Many, a lot of Jimmy Barnes. It goes, it rolls on, and then other people.
That's all private bodyguard work?
Yeah, through a security company and that stuff like that, and independently picked. When you say, if you're a crook, that covers everything. Murderer, rapist, everything like that. Okay, I had nothing to do with anything like in regards to rape, pedophiles, anything, where you're touching innocence.
I think you're trying to say that there's a little bit of honour in a certain type of criminal. And
where I was, it wasn't bank robbers and everything, but you sort of rub shoulders with them.
Yeah, you saying that back in the day, people committed crime in order to have a better life?
Yes, and they did.
So that the next generation was out of crime.
They didn't have to go into it.
Yeah,
and they went to
cool.
schools, and that's the fact.
Yeah. So they're the sorts of people you grew up with?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it brings up a lot of interesting topics, because now we're sort of saying, and I do tend to agree with you, and we're sort of saying, well, we're creating our own morals.
Yeah, but with an understanding, we'd probably, if we're going to take money off you, in the old days, you knew you owed. You owed. We're not taking it because you had more.
Yeah.
Okay? You owed.
Yeah. So you've done a little bit of collecting, haven't you?
Yeah, I've done some collecting, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. All right. But I think you're trying to get the message across that you've never preyed on innocent people.
No. And even I don't go collecting for someone who I know's made the mistake themselves by giving someone too much money and they're just too weak to do it.
Yep. Okay.
You make a mistake, go get it yourself.
Yep. It's an interesting point that you bring up about mental health, because you are right into helping people with their mental health.
Yes.
You've made an interesting comment that I tend to agree with. There's a lot of awareness, but nobody seems to be helping and doing anything. Awareness is one thing, but, how are you going to help people?
I said to Eamon about this awareness. There's a lot of schemes out there, a lot of good people that go into it with the right things. And I used to work with Kerry Packer, right? Now, Kerry Packer once said to me, he said, Justin, he said, you got to learn very quick in life. Something that's good, that needs to be done. Something that needs to be done is good.
Yeah.
Okay? And if it's done right, for the goodness, the money will come. But we're not doing it for money.
Yep.
What we need to do then is protect it from the greedy ones that see it being good.
Okay, that's an
So
interesting
you need
comment.
to look like a bastard. He cared.
Yep.
He supplied every ambulance in New South Wales with a heart defibrillator machine after his heart attack years ago. And they all made out that it was just there for him when he had the heart attack. I walked into the hospital ward.
The media made that out.
The media made that out.
Yeah.
And he was crying. He saw that on the headlines. So we rang up the New South Wales government. He said, how about we go 50-50 in this? I'll pay for half, you pay for half. We'll fit every ambulance out in New South Wales with it. They went, nah. And he said, I knew you'd say that. But I've already done it out of his own bat.
Yeah, so he's saying business-wise, you should be doing things that
Don't
are
let that
good.
to be seen. Make out you're a bastard and everything that you're doing is greedy.
Yep, and he didn't,
And that's what he made himself look like.
Yeah.
But behind the scenes, mate.
Yeah. So in regard to mental health, I noticed that you've discussed publicly that you've had a few dramas in regard to mental health. Do you want to tell us what has set that off, or like why?
I think
Because you're pretty well versed on the subject.
Yeah, I was. There is a door there with a lock on it.
Yeah.
They'll see that, but they not necessarily see behind it. So what's happened is, over my time, I've been able to do things and understand it needed to be done, and then be fine with it and go to sleep.
So you've compartmentalised
Something tragic that might have to happen,
incidents, yeah?
but it might be shocking at the time, but it needed to be done.
Yep.
Okay, I've made mention, people know that I was an anti-poacher.
Yep.
I went over to Africa, anti-poacher. And what anti-poaching is basically, it's a group of 6. We're trained, I went over there, free training, 12 months, on a game reserve over there. And we had to look after, rhinos, elephants. They're the main targets to poachers.
So poachers are coming onto these game reserves or these areas?
Yeah,
and they're trophy hunting the animals?
For money.
Yeah, for money,
The horn and things like that. And so they're coming on with guns and they know we're there. So we've got guns. They're there to kill the animal. We're there to protect the animal. We'll be sent out for 3-4 weeks. We're going to track these rhinos and elephants and we're with them. So we're sleeping out there with them. We're following them of a distance.
Yeah.
Now you've got there's rival groups. So you've got the rebels, you've got the Tutsi, you've got the rebel forces.
Yep.
And they go into these villages and they rape, pillage and take the young boys and things like that.
So you're saying you're following the animal for an unknown period of time.
Yeah, and it'll go where it goes.
And it goes where it goes. And if it goes into a dangerous area,
we do our best to stop it, but if it might need to go there for whatever nutrients, we don't know.
So you're following the animals, and then what's happened?
So these militia armies type things, these gangs, we sort of got stuck in the middle. So we've been radioed. Helps a long way away. It's not. We're not talking.
Yeah, these are vast distances, aren't they?
Massive differences. We've hunkered in the bushes, and we're in camo gear. You can imagine what we've got. A member of one of these groups stops, because they're untrained. They're just they're gangs, but they've got high-powered weapons.
Yeah, I was going to say they're armed gangs.
They're armed gangs. They're not
gangs.
with sticks. They're highly armed. They're young. Boys, young boys, they're kids. Mind you, these kids are brainwashed too at the same time. They're not supporting their army. They just want to die. We're in the grass, and under whatever, and this young man, he stops, and it's like he's 2 feet away, like he can't see me, but I can see him. He stops right there, and. Puts his weapon down right there and starts to proceed to have a wee on me. So without being racist, I know what colour I am, okay, and you can imagine what we've put on our skin to blend with it, and it's on my face, and he's pissing on my face. So whatever was on my face, it's coming off. So that colour's going to come through, and that colour is not prevalent in the bush, in anywhere. You don't see, you know what I mean? And at the same time, he's got to put himself away. The first time when you pull it out, we all know you're not looking down at it.
We
you get that.
Yeah.
But when you put it away, you sort of go, and you will have a moment of looking down.
Yep.
And bang,
He's looked down at you.
bang, and he sees the eyeball. Like this. Mind you, guns are off the target. We can't use that weapon.
Oh, okay.
Because if we do that, we've just
Alerted everybody else.
We've made a noise,
Yep.
bang, they know
Yep.
something's and everyone's going to converge. They're not necessarily knowing it's us either. They just hear the bang, they'll come. And guaranteed we're going to be, we'll be killed.
So you've handled that situation. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, it was handled, but yeah, the other team members looking at me, because I didn't show any, it was horrific.
Yep.
I go,
Waiting for a reaction.
yeah, they're waiting for a reaction from me, wait to break down. Yeah, they were a bit, but it needed to be done. I didn't see a right or wrong. It wasn't. No, it just had to be done.
Yeah, it's survival, isn't it?
For everybody.
Yeah.
And that's where I started questioning myself. Maybe I'm a monster. What sort of a person can do that and not have a second thought about it? Because it needed to be done.
But are you saying that you literally didn't have a second thought about it?
I didn't.
Okay, cool.
No, I didn't.
All right.
No, because it had to be done.
But isn't that a survival instinct?
It is. But when people see it and then question it and how it is, and given the age of the person and the whole situation, it was close.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Personal.
Yep.
You know what I mean? If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Well, so you're saying they've put ideas into your head,
Well, they've
which have
questioned it.
made you question yourself.
Myself as a person, and that's when I was sort of looking at, was there another way out that could have been a better outcome?
Yeah, but you could argue that that's a good thing that you've done.
Yeah, no, and they weren't putting me down for it.
Okay.
They just wanted to see, they understood it needed to be done. Don't get me wrong, no one was judging me, they were just seeing how I was.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
So they're basically questioning the way you're handling it, as in mentally.
Yeah, me, not what I did. There was no wrongdoing there. No, that needed to be done.
Okay.
But the fact I didn't talk about it, just moved on with it.
So usually when people don't talk about things well, no, that's wrong. Usually when people don't think about things, because you don't need to talk about them necessarily, that means you're sort of repressing it.
Yeah, to a point, the situation took place, I can't change that. So I was racking my head going, how could I change it? How could I change it? But anything I did, so I'd go back, say, 5 minutes before that situation. Yep. Could we have taken another avenue? Could it have been something else?
So are you saying that a little bit of guilt crept in?
No guilt. No, it was maybe.
So what is it?
It's more. What could I have done to make it a better outcome? And unfortunately, some things there is no better outcome.
That's right. Yeah.
There is no better outcome. I don't think it doesn't hurt, mate. You know, I look for a better outcome in everything. I don't forget about anything I've ever done. I can forgive, but I can't forget.
But can you forgive yourself?
I don't need to forgive myself.
So what's haunting you?
I want people to see that I'm not. I do have feeling.
Of course you do.
But because I'm not out there, bearing it all, and that, and I'm not one to ask for help, but I give help. I show guidance.
But is that a common thing with men, do you think? Men don't ask for help?
I think what of it is, I think a lot of it with men, it's ego. You don't, like sitting here with a man to man, you might have a cry, and you don't want to think, as a male, you don't want to think that the bloke you're with thinks he's got one up on him because he's showing an emotion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. But see, nobody's ever going to think that. If they know you, no one's going to think that about you because...
It's ingrained. It's a DNA thing. That's not an upbringing thing. There's a DNA thing, right? And that...
to not show weakness.
It's not show it, but also to a point. You cry when you're happy, you cry when you get married, you cry when a loved one passes away, but if there's something within yourself that you've been a part of, you just got to man up to it, and that's the type of thing. And that's where I think I'm happy for people to talk about their problems, but you've got to learn to understand that you've got to get on with it. You've got to understand what you've done. You've got to come to terms with yourself. I'm not there to judge you.
Do people judge you?
But mind you, I did open up to my channel in regards to mental health. I did open myself up to that. I want that to come.
Yeah, because even on your channel, you've got a video where you're describing, it's actually a funny story, about trying to commit suicide,
yeah, all right.
which I'll get you to tell. Yeah. But I just want to sort of point out... You said an interesting thing to me a while back in regards to humour about these sorts of subjects. You've got to laugh.
Look, the worst things, I said in one of my videos, I've been to the most beautifulest places and seen the most heinous atrocities.
Yep. And vice versa.
And been to the worst places in the world and I've seen the most beautiful things.
Yep. So we're all starting from the same point. So how did you get to the point where you wanted to take your own life?
it was more, I sort of let myself down. I opened up. I give it. I've had.
But I do know a lot of people will say things along those lines, but you actually did it.
Yeah, it's not one thing that I ever thought I'd ever grapple.
And just to be clear, Justin is quite happy to say what triggered his attempted suicide, but I'm not letting him.
Yeah.
Because I don't want him to say that on camera.
Yeah.
So I'll fast forward it for him.
So what's happened
because I've had to stop this a couple of times and stop him.
Yeah.
But he's going to tell you the story of what actually happened, because the funny part of the story is how he got out of it.
Yeah. So what's happened is they just want someone to be there to just hear it.
Yep.
And hold their hand. That's it. And I felt that that wasn't there. Yep. Just wasn't there. This stuff's coming up.
So you felt unsupported.
Yeah, I felt
at the
unsupported,
time.
and I've got this lump that's sitting right here that's coming out. So little things go in a little bit at a time, but when it comes out as one big lump.
Yeah.
And so I'm holding this back in here, so it's a big lump here, and it's hurting. It's hurting, you know, and I got no one to talk to.
Yep.
And who would not judge me, because I've already done that. I'm my harshest critic.
Yep.
You know,
we all are. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't need you to tell me I'm a fucking arsehole. You know what I mean?
You're not an arsehole.
No, but I know if I was at that time. But I look at it if I was, and I look at it to better myself. So what's happened is I've sat there, I'm in my garage, and you know, I've got me gun, and I'll put my motorcycle helmet on, and that's it. I've had enough, you know. Me daughters.
But sorry to interrupt. You put your motorcycle helmet on because you're thinking about.
Yeah, I didn't want to make a mess.
Yeah. Okay.
So you know, obviously there's you know, so I didn't want to make a mess.
Which shows where your mind is at too.
I'm still caring about the people or the person and the people who will eventually find me. So I wanted it as clean and as possible.
So you've got your helmet on, you're sitting in the garage, you've got your gun.
I've got my gun, I've got the YouTube playing, and at the time I didn't even know who Denny Hayes was, Million Dollar Bogan. It was just this video, actually I didn't even click on it. It had music playing.
Yep.
And you know how it just randomly, when it finishes, it'll go to something else.
The next video comes up.
Yeah, and it just happened to be Danny riding his bike up around Warburton, right, just after lockdown. And he's this little bloke on a Road King, on a muddy track, you know.
Destroying his bike.
And I'm like this going, well, it's just there. Like, and I'm committed, don't get me wrong. He did not say to me anything physically. It's more what happened, and I've just, you couldn't help but laugh, even though I was in that moment of numbness. With suicide, it gets you when it doesn't want you to remember, it doesn't want you to have a future thought, it just wants you there, numb.
So you're present in the moment, but
it's
not
happen.
feeling.
Yeah, not
You've
feeling.
got your finger on the trigger.
Yeah, it's there, and I'm watching, but you know, nevertheless, I'm still watching this bloke, because it caught me eye, motorbike, Harley, little bloke, mud, raining, no track, this isn't going to go well.
You're squeezing the trigger.
And Danny goes up the embankment in the video, puts his bike upside down, and I've just gone, but my finger was committed. I didn't move my head and knock my finger, it was going, right? It was my head, I went like this, and the bullets shot out, right? Taking me tooth, right? And then the recoil's broken the rest of the teeth, as you can see. Later on, they've fallen out. I just went, what are you doing? You know, it's like, did I miss? No, I didn't miss. This was committed. This is, you know, I do something, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's a failure.
Well, it's a good failure.
Yeah, but I'm looking at it, I failed. What happened? And then I looked at it and I went, hang on a minute. Because people sort of go, suicide can come up on you and it just grabs you. But you know what I just didn't, because I've done it, and the Golden Gate Bridge, people say when they've jumped, they've regretted it, the people who've survived. They actually are now talking about that actual feeling. So whenever you get there, regardless whether your mental health issues, whether it's PTSD or a chemical imbalance, whatever it may be, right? That feeling of when, I call it David, which is suicide, comes. It's all the same feeling. It's that emptiness. So as soon as you feel that void of emptiness, We all know the feeling. Give it a name, recognise it. How you going, David? You know, and bang, it'll go away because he's seen, it's seen. You know what's happening.
So you've sort of personified it or made it real so that you can deal with it.
So I've made it like it's a real identity.
Yep.
Right? It's something that's come in. You know, it's not in my head, I've made it there. And if you get it out of your head and put it into something and go, how are you, Dave? I think that's the best tool to start with, getting it out, recognising it. Look,
So after that incident, so you're basically crediting Million Dollar Bogan with saving your life accidentally?
Accidentally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
a particular feeling, makes you feel bad, and because you don't know what's happening, that's
luckily,
leading you down the hill.
Yeah, and recognising what that is. It doesn't mean that might have been something that's happened, but that feeling of when you're going to take your life, whatever's put you in that realm is not in the room anymore. So if you've had a fight with someone, it's not them while you're doing it.
Yep.
It's crept up on you. It's like the Exorcist type thing. It's open, the Bible's away, the cross is gone, get on it. You know what I mean? Before they get back in the room.
Yeah.
You know, type thing. And you feel it come over, and it's just like you don't feel hopeless. You just don't feel anything. You have no memory. It's got you there where you think, I'm done. I'm just done.
So it's a calm feeling.
It's calm.
I can see the calmness in your eyes when
it's very calm.
when you talk about it.
But it's recognising that feeling.
But are you okay now?
No. I mean, look, you don't. If you've done it, it's there. I mean, just riding up here, you know, you get those moments and just go.
It sounds like you're weary of life in general, and you're sort of saying that there's too much pain in the world.
Yeah, I'm not saying you can't change it and stuff, and I'm willing to, but I think that with the way it's going out there at the moment, if we don't start from the ground, and that's like redirectioning out what's important, and out there, we're living in 2023, and we've got famine in Australia. There's people going without food.
So this is really interesting because you're a hard man, right? But you got a lot of depth of emotion, and that's probably the same with everybody, because I personally think that the people who are stone cold are basically just repressing it anyway, and the right prodding gets to the emotion.
I have come across some very evil.
Yeah, they're around.
Mate, they are more prevalent than we realise.
You're a tough guy, and you've got a bit of emotion in. Well, because you're laughing at that, but like, what's the definition of tough? Because I think I've said it in one of my other videos.
I think being able to recognise someone can have a bad day.
Yeah, and personally, I think it's being able to survive all those things, and you've survived them. Are you saying no one's there for you?
I don't want anyone to be there for me, but I think it'd be nice if it was recognised like I recognise.
Well, why don't you want anyone to be there for you?
I don't think you should have anyone there to recognise that for you. I think it just should be a given.
What does that mean?
Meaning, it's like, give the time of day to somebody.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Smile at someone. You know, you don't need to know them.
Yep.
Just say, if someone, you lock eye contact with someone, just don't know.
But you've lived a pretty colourful life.
And that's why I'm trying to open up now. I'm learning, this is a learning step for me.
If we finish up on the topic of mental health, what advice have you got for other guys or people?
Anyone who says to you this, right, and I think it grates us all. We've all had someone say this to us. Just remember, there's always someone else there doing it harder than you. You know what? Tell that person to fuck off. Just tell that person to fuck off. Yeah. We already know that. If you get the feeling that you're being judged, that's not the person to talk to. Remember when you were a child and what you used to do that got you out of your upset. So if you lost that, you were grounded. What did you do in the time you were grounded to get you through that grounding?
Because do you mean to feel more positive?
More positive even though you're grounded.
What are you going to do in the future? What do you plan on doing?
I plan on
that's going to help people.
Help people to talk. And to understand that I'm a person that you can trust. If you wish to open up to me or seek advice, I can only give you on my life learnings.
Right, so let's end on a positive note in regard to mental health, because I like being practical about it, and I know you do too, because awareness is one thing. You know, practical ways to help people is good. You've got your channel that you've started where you're opening up and telling your stories in the hope that it'll help people.
And I've got comments back, And it is.
Do you think people are not taking enough responsibility for their circumstances?
think-
Because I know that whenever I've gone down the slippery slope,
Yeah.
there's been no one there to help me.
No,
And I'm at the bottom.
there never is.
Yeah, but then it's me who's pulled myself up.
That's right.
But are you saying that, but you're sort of saying that people are weaker now?
Yeah. I think there's too many privileges. People
Okay.
are born with too many privileges these days. Things
Okay,
are too easy
yep.
to access.
Okay.
I mean,
so that's basically saying, and I do actually agree with this if you're saying
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
basically saying if you've never experienced any hardship,
shut up.
well,
To a
you
point.
don't. You sort of don't have the resources
Well,
to
you
pull
don't have the
yourself
right.
out of the hole.
Well, you don't have the right. I mean, you got look. You don't necessarily have to go to rock bottom to feel hardship, you know. But I think if you're whinging about your finger and the person in front of you who's in hospital, who's got a broken leg,
Yeah.
you know what? It says a lot about you if you want your finger
But-
looked at. You know what I mean?
Okay, but isn't it good for people to talk?
Yeah, but I mean, you've got to understand, you're not the only person who's got a blister on your finger.
Yeah, so you're saying it's one thing to talk,
Yeah.
but if you start talking
But
all
if
the
you-
time,
If you know how to
you're not-
remedy it,
and you're not doing anything to
about it, you're
change
still
your
sticking
life.
it on the hot pan.
Yeah,
It's
so you've
like-
got to help yourself.
You need to show the help yourself. You know, I say this: show me something you've done for someone else, right? That makes me look at you.
And that's an interesting point. So by helping other people,
Yeah.
you're going to help yourself.
Yes, you'll feel better in
accidentally,
yourself.
you'll feel better.
Yes, and you'll get the received attention that's deserved.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Check out the website. Get yourself some great supporter gear, a t-shirt, a sticker, a patch. Stay fit and healthy. I'll see you on the next video.